In 1992, 25 years after the 1967 referendum was held, when we rejected the proposals from the Spanish government for our country to pass under the sovereignty of Spain, the GSLP government that I led agreed with the self-determination group, the SDGG, to hold a political rally to commemorate the event. This is how National Day was born. The overwhelming, spontaneous response of our people, who came out in their thousands, dressed in our national colors, persuaded me, as Chief Minister, to declare the day a public holiday and make it our official National Day, an annual event with a public political rally at the Casemates. The Casemates political rally is the expression of our nationhood and of our identity as a people. The GSD accepted this and accepted that we were a nation in 1996 when they came into government, and they continued with the Casemate rally that year. But they abandoned the policy and the Casemates rally 10 years later. They argued the 2006 Constitution was the result of us having achieved self-determination, which is not the case as far as international law is concerned, and it's not the case as far as we were concerned. And therefore, although the GSD government did everything possible to prevent the Casemates rally from continuing after 2006, we were doing it from the opposition. The GSLP was doing it with the participation of the Liberal Party, Joseph Garcia, and Keith Asopardi, who led the PDP. He is now the leader of the GSD, and therefore I can assume that he now continues to believe, as he did in the PDP, that we have not yet achieved our self-determination, and that therefore the political rally at Casemates is an important event that must continue into the future. The political rally is about us deciding the future of our country and about us getting recognition of our nationhood officially and of our right to self-determination, which has been denied to us. A few months ago, I think it was in February or March, some papers that had been secret in the archives in the United Kingdom were made available to the public, that is to say, under the 30-year rule covering official papers of the British government. These papers were revealed, and GBC made a mention of it at the time. And I have decided that I want to share with you my knowledge of what went on in those years, and to bring to your notice and to make it easy for you to understand what these secret papers mean. The papers have got this secret label, which means it's got a higher ranking than merely confidential papers. This particular set of papers start in 1988, and they are the papers of the Southern European Department of the Foreign and Commonwealth Office, and under the Her Majesty's Diplomatic Service. The title of these papers, of this edition of papers, is called The Future of Gibraltar, but in fact it's almost entirely about me. This is not, of course, a WikiLeaks, because we haven't leaked anything. These are papers that are now open, and they're not the X-Files of science fiction. They are the other side of the coin. There is the side that, as your elected representative and as your elected government and as your chief minister in 1988, and before that for many years, as your member of parliament and as the leader of your party and the leader of the opposition, in many of the battles with the Foreign Office, I had knowledge of one side of the coin. And these papers contain the other side of the coin. So what I want to do is to give you the opportunity to understand what was going on, and in fact to understand it in a way which I think it would be difficult for you to understand if you simply read the papers, because I intend to put the papers in context. I intend to take you through the paper and then explain what was happening, who was doing what, so that you can understand the significance of the reference of these things. In fact, the first page of the secret papers was not about me at all. It was asking for legal advice, and it was a letter addressed to the legal advisor of the Foreign Office, and it read, Gibraltar Free Association. The prospect of a free association link with the UK has recently been aired by one of the political parties in Gibraltar, and the research department produced the attached paper. Mr. Broadley, who was the Deputy Governor, in Gibraltar has asked us to confirm that in the case of free association, the associated state, and they give the example of the Cook Islands, a former colony, is free to decide to become fully independent without any formal agreement with the sovereign state, which in their case was New Zealand. Can you confirm that this is so? In effect, what the inquiry was that if somebody gets free association and ceases to be a colony and has exercised self-determination, is it true that from that point on they can become independent by a unilateral declaration which does not require the consent of the associated state? This goes back to the 1980s, but in fact very recently one of the remaining colonies in the United Nations actually was offered a free association decolonization solution by New Zealand. So it's still a relevant thing that is happening in the UN context. Free association is one of the three alternatives originally identified by the UN, which allows a colonial people to come out of a colonial situation and achieve a full measures of government. And what was identified very early on in the 1960s was that the three options were independence and emergence as a new international sovereign state, free association, which was linking up with an existing sovereign state, or integration, which is becoming part of an existing state. In effect, what we rejected in 1967 was the integration of Gibraltar into Spain as a means of decolonizing Gibraltar.